Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Winners Tape All, the Henderson Brothers Story. They blurred the lines between Hollywood and the backyard.
Winners Tape All is a mockumentary following the glamorous life of the Henderson Brothers, cult horror movie makers in the small town of Smithville.
Now there is a little twist to it though. These guys never actually existed.
So that's the interesting thing. Well, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it.
What do we like about this movie?
I like the whole idea behind making a mockumentary. It's been a long time since I've seen Fubar and Spinal Tap, and a long time since something like this has come out. And the first time, I believe, that one has come out in the horror genre talking about like guys who made shot-on-video movies. And it was great.
I said, well, hey, Dad, can we borrow your camera? And we're going to shoot our own picture. And we're going to do it in the backyard. And he said, whatever. Borrow the camera. Shoot your picture. I don't care. So that's what we did.
They make up two movies. So the first is the Curse of Stabberman.
Yeah, Stabberman.
And the second is Cannibal Swim Club. So these are low-grade B movies at its finest. You don't get to see the whole movies, obviously, but you get to see scenes from it, and it's hilarious. These guys nailed the humor, and you can tell they know about VHS B movies. We used to go hunting for these movies back in the day. Anyone who's done it knows that you pick up the box art, it looks cool, you're like, this is gonna be a sweet movie. And then it is nothing.
It is nothing like the cover, that's for sure.
And they point that out, and right there, I knew these guys knew B movies.
It's really neat to see that the way that they introduce some of the footage from these films. You can obviously tell that these guys are friends. They went out, shot a couple shorts, and then they pretty much improv'd or ad-libbed all of their lines throughout the movie, I think. If not, they're great actors. But they have like this really dry, awkward sense of humor.
And they did a song for Stabberman. And I'll tell you what, I think it's a good song. I still listen to it. It's my ringtone right now. Call me.
It's kind of like a Steve Brule, John C. Reilly kind of vibe. And I see a lot of YouTubers doing this same kind of awkward humor, and it was done well.
It was natural. So that's the big thing about it, is that it has to be natural. And so the way they speak their lines and they act, it felt very, very natural, which is why the humor worked well in the movie. The short films themselves is just ridiculous, and like, it's hard to purposely do a bad movie, portrayed as a bad movie as a parody, and I think they've nailed it here.
To add to the authenticity of this film, it actually starts out with like real convention footage, with an interview of a guy talking about just like VHS tapes at a convention. That and like the intro graphics and all of the like the stylings of their logo, and just the random stories that they just happened to come up with about their fake company just was great.
The details. It was so thought out, you wouldn't expect it. Now, this isn't like a long movie. It's like, what, an hour running time? But
yeah.
It works throughout the hour, I think. There is some gore, and the gore actually wasn't horrible, and it was funny because it was purposely supposed to be done bad, and they nailed it again. All the little mistakes that you always see in actual crappy movies, they nail.
But what's even funnier is the fact that the gore is better in this shitty rendition of it than it is in the guys with like huge, massive budgets that are trying to make these low-quality B-grade movies, where they completely forget the blood coming out of the mouth.
I guarantee you, if you ask a doctor, they will tell you that a human being coughs up blood before they die. Every time.
What don't we like about this movie?
What I'm gonna touch on is really nitpicky considering the subject matter, because this could have been done on purpose. However, I don't think it was. There is footage of like the directors just talking in a chair throughout the film, and they're always doing like little like slider moves and zoom ins and stuff. You can tell that it was actually like a locked off camera, and they had like black to the side because the black background that the directors are actually speaking in front of is not matching the same black background that they have to the side. So it's pretty evident in that. It's not a huge deal, and you're only ever gonna notice if your contrast is set up the same way that my projector is set up.
Yeah.
Otherwise you probably wouldn't notice. Even showing it on YouTube, depending on your monitor settings, you probably won't even see what I'm pointing out right now.
I kind of wanted the interview quality to be higher. That was set present day, so we could have had like a better camera, better like production value.
There were like a couple of graphics flying at the screen, but yeah, you're right. Like that didn't need to be as cheesy as it was because it was shot in 2015 essentially, right?
Yeah.
Also the runtime. It's only an hour long, but it's also one of those movies that might have been better as like a 20-minute short. And while they were able to sustain the comedy throughout, I think that some people, if you're not hooked on the comedy, you're gonna get pretty bored around like the 35-minute mark.
Like a 20-minute show, it could have been, and that would have been cool. Maybe do 3 shows in like a series, like it's some sort of anthology. That could have been cool. Do 3 different cult horror things. That could have been different. An hour for just the Henderson Brothers was a little long. It's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
Winners Take All is a funny, well-needed mockumentary of the shot-on-video days. All of the actors nailed their lines, whether it was improv or not. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a really fun time, and I think a lot of you, especially if you grew up in the days of hunting down like old VHS tapes, and maybe if you're still doing that right now, you're probably going to like this movie because it's just funny. And it's well done for what they're trying to do. And that's like the best part of it. Like the editing, the effects that they put on like the videos, the sound, the dialogue. A lot of it is very reminiscent of the 80s. And you know, I think you're gonna really appreciate their love for the craft. So I'm gonna give this 4 lifeguard fanny packs out of 5.
Personally, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was funny. I thought they had a clear passion for B horror movies, and it showed. We always bring it up, but we used to hunt for the VHSs. We don't do now because, well, I don't have a VCR.
And everything's digital.
Yeah, but you know, it was really fun, and so this just recaptures that, because there are these rare gems that when you do find them and you hear about them and you just want to know more and more about it, and that's exactly what this was. And they made funny spoofs of movies. They had some great sense of humor when just talking naturally in the interviews. If you like the first joke, then you'll enjoy it. So I'm going to give this 4 sexy man legs out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you want to check it out, there are streaming links in the description below. I think it's also available on DVD. Links in the description. Check it out. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.